All right. Hey, everyone. Matt here with Restored Minds. And on this video, I wanted to talk about the idea of being still or stillness or the power of being still. And this idea came to me when I was watching this show Alone. They have it on Netflix, I think, right now. But, anyways, it's a show where it's kind of a reality show where these people are dropped off in the wilderness and they have to survive alone, like completely no camera crews. They set up all their own cameras, right? And they have to be alone for, up to however long until essentially everyone taps and the last person to tap wins the show. And I think it's such a great demonstration. I mean, you really get to see, real people, and when they get in complete stillness and silence, just what happens, right? I think it's so great to watch. I mean, sometimes it's suffering for the person. I don't mean I enjoy watching them suffer by any means, but I think it's just such a testament to how little most of us actually sit in stillness. How often we actually sit with ourselves, how often we're actually just alone with ourselves, and how challenging that can be. And what I think, most of the people that go into the show, they are survival experts and, bushcraft people that can make, hunt, and do all that stuff. But the challenge of the show is really just the being alone. And I think so many people on the show anyway overestimate their ability to be with themselves, or underestimate how challenging that might be. And, on this most recent season, or season I was watching, season 8, I believe. And I know this isn't like a show about a show, but I just was thinking about this, right? Because in my program, I have a whole 31-day meditation program of just learning of how we use meditation just for OCD and anxiety purposes, and what it is and why it's so important, and why practicing meditation or some type of stillness is so important. Because most of us, I'm gonna say some very generic statements. This might not be you, and if it's not you, that's great. But I'm gonna talk about just some common things that I've done in my life and that I watch other people do, and that I know and people that I know do, right? Like the idea of getting up and immediately getting on your phone. And you might be like, well, Matt, I need to check email, right? I need to see if someone texted me. I need to see what someone posted on Instagram last night when I was asleep. Whatever it is. And the question is, well, do you really, right? Like, your phone is for your convenience, not for anyone else's. And so many of us just immediately jump in, right? That's like how we start our day, phone, right? Or it's like, hey, I'm going to, maybe cook breakfast, but I need to be listening to music. I need to go for a walk, but I need to be listening to a podcast, right? And we just don't realize, like, how much stuff we stack on our day. Like, when was the last time you drove and listened to absolutely nothing? Or when was the last time you just sat with yourself in just complete stillness? Even the idea of meditating, oftentimes sitting in just silence is too much. People like guided meditations, and I know I'm one of those people as well. And the point I'm trying to make in this episode is just what stillness does is it allows for our work to begin. And what I mean by that is that's when feelings are going to start coming to the surface, and they naturally push up. They naturally come to the surface. That's why what's so cool about watching the show Alone is it just naturally happens. The moment, like, that everything calms down is like the person will, hey, I start having these feelings. I had memories. I had, just stuff start flying up to the surface, right? Because again, our body has this way of cleansing our system emotionally, especially with, and all thought is, in most cases, is just a manifestation of emotion in the body. That's why when you read the book Letting Go by Dr. David Hawkins, I mean, he's really clear, and talk about a guy that knows his stuff, right? When you talk about letting go, I mean, he very clearly articulates, don't get involved in the thought. Go into where it is in your body. right? And feeling what we feel in our body. Oftentimes, us going into our head and trying to analyze and think is us escaping what's going on in our body, right? We think we're solving something, but really we're just escaping these feelings that are coming up in our body. Because if we believe feelings are dangerous, we're going to do things to try to get rid of them. And feelings, especially buried feelings, right? That, and again, we have to bury feelings in our society, right? It's not always appropriate that if you're in a meeting that you can just, if someone says something that upsets you, you can just lash out and say whatever you want. We don't live in a place like that, and thank God. But sometimes we have to push feelings down. But then in that case, we have to give ourselves space to really let our body surface those feelings and let them pass and let them go. And one of the reasons that I like the show Alone is because you really get to observe a very raw experience that people have, where they're forced to be alone, and then it just starts happening. The stuff just starts coming up to the surface, and a lot of times it's too much for people to handle. But and the reason that I bring it up is because when you want to, people always ask, well, what do I need to do? It's like I get emails and messages all the time of like, how do I do this? What do I need to do? What, it's like, and again, it's actually not about doing so much. It's about, hey, like learning to be with yourself. I mean, one of the biggest things that I saw with the pandemic was when a lot of people's coping mechanisms got removed. Things like gyms and bars and all this other stuff got shut down. You had to be with yourself, and for a lot of us, that's very challenging. We always need to be doing. And if you feel that need to be doing, what I would suggest is maybe considering the idea of saying, hey, I'm going to set aside 10 minutes a day. You can do whenever you want, right? Whenever you want. It might be on your lunch break. It might be in the morning, it might be at night. And if you can do it twice in a day, great. But just start with once a day and just be still and just kind of watch what happens. Watch if your mind just starts going all wild and rapid real quick. Watch if feelings start coming up in your body. That is the work. That is your work. It's not about, hey, in the stillness, I need to feel still. No, because you won't, right? Like when I'm saying being still, I'm saying eliminating all external distraction and just sitting in that stillness right now. That doesn't mean that internally you're going to feel still. In fact, quite the opposite for most of us. But that work of noticing what comes up and actually working to release, working to let go, and not getting lost in it, that is the work right there. That's 90% of the work. Because as we go about our day, stuff is going to hit and we got to be able to work with it, And so that practice of even just doing it 10 minutes a day is just going to get you better at doing it when it just comes up naturally throughout the day, and not getting so lost and overwhelmed in the emotion that we start doing, irrational things, or, we start trying to control our environment to make sure that people don't make us feel a certain way. This work of just being still, right, is, in my opinion, oftentimes more powerful than most things that you're going to do. Because what I've found is that the recovery process from OCD and anxiety is actually very intuitive, it's very obvious. A lot of times it's just like, it's uncomfortable. So, we're always kind of looking for these workarounds, and I say we as a collective, me included, right? What book can I read? What can I do, right? What video can I watch, right? Thinking that doing is somehow progressing us forward. And oftentimes it's like, no, it's about less doing. And hey, don't not watch the videos or the podcast, right? That's not what I'm saying. You can keep watching mine and listening, right? But my point is that, oftentimes we think cramming effort into this is that's what brings recovery. But a lot of times what it is sitting with the feelings that we don't want to sit with. And one of the best ways that I know to do that is just be still. Stop doing. Notice what comes up and then work with that when it does. It's not about like, I need to set aside and do 18 exposures throughout the day. No, it's like exposures happen very naturally for people usually. That's why we teach the AAA response and taking back control, because I fundamentally believe life will give you all the opportunities to heal that you need. I fully believe that. I've watched that happen a zillion times, maybe not a zillion, but you get the idea. A lot of times with people that are wrestling, and the perfect opportunity comes up to trigger and then release the emotion very, very naturally. And so, instead of trying to control the exposure process and plan this all out and focus all this effort, really just the power of being still. And, this is just something to try this week. It's just something to consider. You might not like that. Okay, that's fine. But I know that when you actually learn to be still and practice being still, and start to notice when you're still, how easily you want to go do something, or distraction or control or get reassurance or avoid. It's like, that is the work of ERP right there. The moment you get this I need to do something, sit with that for a second and be still. Okay. So that's the message for this video, or this episode. And, take it as you will. Hopefully you can start applying it however you see fit in your life. And I just want to let you guys know ahead of time that we are running a workshop. We have the dates for them, actually. So the dates are, let me make sure so the dates are August 19th and August 20th. We're going to do a 2-day workshop. It's going to be live with me. We've got some really, really cool stuff that we're going to be covering. And I don't want to lay out all the spoilers, but things like, breaking and rebuilding beliefs, understanding how we don't understand OCD and anxiety well, right? And so really flipping our understanding and the paradigm shift of it, and then as well as the AAA response, what recovery is, what it looks like, how to get there, how to apply this stuff in your life. And just so much more. So set aside those dates, bookmark them in your calendar, join us, right? It's a low fee for the workshop. This is not something that, is like this crazy thing, but these 2 days are designed to really undo a lot of the things that you've been doing that have been keeping you stuck, as well as get you on the right track and really to make sure that you're moving towards recovery, towards living the kind of life that you want to live. So those are the dates. We got more information over at restoredminds.com, as well as in the notes of the show. So check those out. Go claim your seat as well. And with that said, look forward to seeing you on the next episode, guys. Have a great week. Talk to you soon.